Europe watches Brexit events with frustrated disbelief. Brussels. The date for the UK's departure from the European Union was seemingly chiseled in stone. March 29, 2019. When it finally arrived, they saw 3 years of bluster on how Britain would leave the EU on its own terms, dissolved Friday with the last of 3 votes in Parliament that failed to approve Prime Minister Theresa May's divorce deal, leaving an uncertain course. There. Few in Britain would disagree. For decades, the bloc was the target of ridicule in Britain for what was perceived as European hubris and an inefficient bureaucracy. But on Friday, the EU called another emergency summit for April 10, 2 days ahead of a new withdrawal date. A chaotic no. The EU doesn't want to inflame passions even more, because it also stands to suffer, with hundreds of billions of euros and tens of thousands of jobs at stake, for a UK exit without transitional measures in place. There was frustration among EU officials, who felt that they and their star negotiator Michel Barnier did their part and Britain didn't. Even Nigel Farage. Almost 3 years after the June 23, 2016, Brexit referendum, the British government and Parliament seem to be still at a loss over what they really want from the EU. Britain. What also is in tatters is a European admiration of Britain as a symbol of a well-run parliamentary democracy, with its sometimes brilliant discourse and vigorous debate. Lamberts said he was stunned at how May's Conservative Party as well as those in the Labour Party seemed to act in their own interests, rather than the needs of the country. It's Manfred Weber, a European lawmaker from Germany and centre-right candidate to head the European Commission, said the repeated rejection of the deal highlighted Some saw Friday's events as another blow to Britain's international standing. Now, however, the Associated Press writer Geir Moulson in Berlin and Angela Charlton in Paris contributed.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot, fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,